Good morning, Broncos country. It is Raider Week. I am the new host of Time to Ride, Joe Pro. You may have seen me before. I'm looking forward to bringing some new stuff to you all. Very excited to see you all bright and early this morning. And my co-host today, Keith. Good morning, Keith. How are you?
Doing great, man. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. I can't wait to ride.
I can't either, man. It's Raider Week. It's a rivalry. It's time to get it all started off again, man. It's nothing better than playing an AFC West opponent, man.
And probably one of our biggest opponents, if we're being honest about it. I despise the Raiders. And my 7-year-old daughter has been going around the house all week, just harassing me and poking fun at me, saying "Go Raiders, go Raiders," and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Oh,
wrong household. I don't know where you think you're living, but wrong household." He's
Love,
running
loves to
around
poke
with
the
his
bear,
brothers.
huh?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm like, I don't know if you know where you live. So, it's been a fun week in my household for sure. Having those two run around and just poke fun at each other too. So it's been good. It's been real good.
Yeah, I
Um,
got. I
Go ahead.
can't.
I'm sorry.
I'm hoping I can get in contact with my brother-in-law after this game, who's a big Raiders fan. Talk to him just a little bit. That would be nice. We haven't talked in a little bit. It'd be nice to have a good conversation with him. Hopefully, a good Broncos win to rub in his face a little bit, maybe.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I have a bunch of coworkers that me and them have been going at it all week long. I have whiteboards on my door and stuff like that, and they're sitting there writing up on the whiteboards and messing with me left and right. So it's like that's all right. It's all right. We're the ones that are more relevant than the other than the other team. So got a Facebook user coming in, Raider hater for life. I like it. I like it.
Right? I figured we'd throw that up there. It was pretty dang relevant. So,
Perfect. No,
oh yeah,
definitely. All right, so the Broncos are coming in as the underdog this week, 2.5 point underdog. The over/under is 45 and a half. What are you thinking about that? They're 0-3, and they're coming in as a 2.5 point underdog. I know we've been scoring low and things like that, but our defenses look pretty locked on.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, whenever I look at a line, you should be a 3 point favorite at home. That's kind of usually more the even line there. So really, they're looking at the Broncos being a half a point favorite, in my opinion. Home team
Okay,
advantage should get 3 points, I guess is the best way to put it. That's
okay.
usually the way you look at it. So, you know, this is looking like an even matchup. And quite honestly, the way both of these teams have come out of the gate, I know that our defensive look has looked good, but our offense has not looked great. And it's going to have to show something for me at least, they're going to have to show something to me before I think, hey, we can go ahead and go out there and have a blowout win, just take over a game. If not, it's going to be tight. Might be a half a point game, might be a 3 point game.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. The offense has sputtered to get any kind of traction underneath them to move forward. We've had quite a few red zone trips and just not been unable to produce down in that red zone.
Yeah, yeah, it's been brutal, man. It's you look at just a few key things that really where it's going to propel this team to the next level in red zone and maybe some coaching decisions, some turnovers. The thing is like Coach Hackett has come out and he said in all his press conferences, these are things that we can fix. These are fixable things. You should be able to get your hands around coaching. You should be able to get your hands around fumbles, which accounted to some of those red zone non-production numbers. There's a lot. We're just so close, as Russell Wilson has even said, so close. Just inches to Cortland Sutton or to tight end. I'm thinking Sauerbert, Eric Saubert. There's been so many close opportunities. Just need to get over that hump, man.
Oh, definitely, I agree with that. I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing is that Russell Wilson has kind of been leashed up a little bit. He hasn't had any room to go out and cook. He has not been Russ. What do you think in that regard? Do you think Nate Hackett needs to let the leash go a little bit so that Russell Wilson can just do what he needs to do?
At least give him some flint, maybe a one match. He should be out there rubbing sticks together, man, because they're not letting him cook at all, man.
No.
He doesn't have any of the tools to cook, man. He's being held back in that regard. He need, you know, I think we saw a little bit of that graduation last week to where he was kind of allowed, or he was just saying, "I'm taking this over. This is going to be more of my decision making. If I got to run, if I got to scramble, if I got to get a first down, if I got to." Do a chest pass to Melvin Gordon in order to pick up a few more yards. That's what I'm going to do. So does that just give him free reign? Well, I don't know if he's quite there yet. I don't know if Hackett's quite there yet. I think they're going to try to respect the process, but at the same time, I think you're starting to see those, those tools getting into Russ's hands. Maybe some nice little kitchen tools so you can get cooking.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that if he just lets himself open up a little bit and goes with the flow of things, and sees when he needs to go ahead and make his own decisions, I think that might be a little bit better for him. It's been interesting to see Russell Wilson so like reserved and not making plays. And it's not what he did in his career in Seattle.
No, and I think there's also an emphasis of him getting the ball out a little bit quicker, because if you think about some of those plays that you saw in Seattle, it was him avoiding a tackle, avoiding a tackle, avoiding a tackle, finding a guy, throwing it downfield. I mean, he played behind the line like a Kyler Murray would, or like that 22-second 2-point conversion that we saw from Kyler Murray last week. That was something that you would see from Russell Wilson, and you're not seeing that. It's a little bit quicker read, quicker offense, and it's inhibiting his way to kind of process the game like we've seen in the past.
Oh yeah, definitely. Do you think that he has enough options out there on the field? I mean, he has Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tomlinson, Salbert, Javonte Williams. Do you think that's enough, or do you think we need to be looking at maybe bringing OBJ in after he comes in off his injury?
No, I don't want to. I like the team and the chemistry. I mean, it just seems like we can't get everybody on the field. Even Virgil this week is out. So, it's been a rough go to try to get. I mean, Tim Patrick was the answer. I don't know if OBJ is the answer that I want to bring in. The big thing is a couple of the names that you kind of threw in there that we've really seen disappear since week one, which is the Sauerberts and the Tomlinsons. And, Beck's gotten a little bit of love, but really that tight end position has fallen off quite a bit as far as production. I just want to bring up another comment here because you talked about it as well. I'll say it again, take shots to Sutton and Jeudy. Well, last week was an all Sutton show. And Jeudy, there was a good shot, and quite honestly, a little bit of Twitter banter afterwards between Shannon Sharpe and Jerry Jeudy, but had a great opportunity. Might have been slightly tipped, but that ball still went through Jerry Judy's hands. And, I think we'll see those opportunities. It was surprising to me that we haven't taken more of those opportunities, though, given the defenses that we've went up against so far. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get tougher, I think, a lot of times as far as matching up against some of these defenses. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I had read this past week that Cortland Sutton was number 5 in the league for receiving yards. And that's because our offense has been kind of sputtering. So it's going to be very interesting to see once the offense gets going, what Sutton can actually do.
Yeah, and what those pieces around him can do. I think that's really the key to his production and him getting good production. I mean, a lot of his targets are really locked up. They didn't allow him to really run free a whole lot. No, not a whole lot of yak, as they like to say, But, at the same time, if we can get a tight end, if we can get Jeudy involved, if we can get whoever, as Jody, another host on and a co-host on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network, said, who is our third and fourth receiver? Who's our fifth? Who knows? Because quite honestly, we're having a hard enough time trying to find our second.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's going to be a big concern going into some of these more difficult weeks. Right now, this week, I'm really looking forward to it. The Raiders defense has been absolutely abysmal when it comes to stopping the pass game. And so I'm really looking forward to see what Russ can do and what kind of plays he can make with, Sutton and Jeudy and them spreading the field out a little bit. and hopefully we can get back to those kind of rollout situations where we can get those tight ends involved.
Yeah, yeah. Tight ends, even getting our running backs involved again in that passing game. Again, it allows you to kind of spread that out. Let's see if I can spread that out, to the edges. And when you start, working those edges, then you want to see Gordon and Javonte going right up the middle. That's going to open it all up. So if we can start, especially in that short intermediate, get out to the tight ends, get out to the running backs, get 4, 5, 7 yards along the edges. All of a sudden, you'll start to see those linebackers start to respect that a little bit more and be able to run those alleys up the middle. But because quite honestly, I think that's, again, as Broncos country has talked again and again and again and again, let's get these guys the ball. I mean, we're sometimes looking at anywhere from 4 to 6.5 yards of average coming out of our running game. So, let's try to find ways to get that more involved. That's got to be a bigger part of our offense, and that's going to, again, open up the passing game that, won't hopefully just go to Sutton. Can't hear you, Joe.
Okay, sorry.
All right, there you are. You're back.
I agree with you, and I agree with the Facebook user here. Play calling has been really, really rough, and I think that them bringing in Rosenberg last week and things like that, we definitely saw a better game management, but the play calling has still not quite got its feet underneath them. And I think that Nate Hackett needs to do something about that. We need to figure out what is gonna produce, better plays quicker. We brought the quicker piece in with Rosenberg, but now the better plays piece. I don't know if Nate Hackett is going to be able to keep continuing to do the head coaching and doing the play calling. I think he needs to maybe let go a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I think we need to let this brew just a little bit, longer. We're 3 games in, you know what I mean? Let's, at this point, we're not even if once this game is over, we're not a quarter of the way through the season with a 17-game season. Hey, we got to be pretty happy. Like a lot of people have said, this 2-1 feels better than the 3-0 we had last year. We just have a lot better staff around us, a lot better quality players around us, a lot better talent around us, I think. And if it all starts coming together, you can see how it's going to happen. So, yeah, it may be too much. Maybe it's something we have to back off of. But at the same time, I want to ask you this. How did you feel about how we came out in last week's game? Because we came out kind of in a hurry-up situation, a hurry-up offense, through our first 3-4 series as we hit the field. Did you feel better about that?
Not necessarily better. I thought, it definitely cleaned up a couple little things, some of the delay of game penalties and things like that. That was nice. But as far as we weren't being able to sling the ball down the field, we weren't being able to really make the moves that happen. And that's why, Waitman was the AFC Special Player of the Week with what I think it was 12 punts that he had total for the game or something like that.
Yep.
And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We shouldn't be punting that much ever in a game. I mean, granted that the Niners were doing the same thing. We were holding them, but our offense, the way our offense is set up, we should be able to continuously move the ball down the field because it was one series and out. It wasn't like we were even making a couple first downs. It was a series, boom, done. And we're punting the ball. Yeah.
I mean, I think through our first 5 series that we had offensively, we had 4 punts and 1 field goal. And I think we were in hurry up that entire time. I just like that, like you said, it took a lot of things out of context. I mean, quite honestly, I was worried about our first offensive series, our first play going up and already hearing 5, 4, 3 coming from the crowd. So that was mitigated right off the bat. That didn't even come into play. The thing is that the play calling was just terrible. You know what I mean? We limited ourselves. We weren't getting good productions out of the plays that we were getting in and called in. So eventually that ended up playing out. But I think it was a big step forward. It was something that we saw obviously Paul Rosenberg come in and probably try to implement. I was wondering if it's going to be hurry up or scripted, to begin with, and I thought it was a good step forward at least. I think we need to all just take a collective breath and let this kind of play out a little bit. I didn't expect us to be Super Bowl bound year one. I was hoping to be playoff bound year one underneath this system. I'm not sure how you felt, but I tempered my reality from the very beginning of the season. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I'm a fanatic, so I was like, "We're winning it all. We're going to the house. It's done. It's done. We got Russ now. That's all we needed was a quarterback."
Yeah.
So now I've tempered down a little bit. We're still going to the Super Bowl. We're just not winning as big of a game. That's all it is.
Oh, okay. Very good, man. Not a blowout win. All right.
Not a blowout win. I got to temper my expectations a little bit. It's going to be a tough game at least.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. I mean, not to turn the host around on you.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
What's going on with the Raiders, man? Because I'll be honest, there's a lot of people saying, hey, this is probably one of the most talented offensive minds in football. He said he's learned, from his mistakes in the past. It's not looking like again, for a Broncos country, keep that in mind. New head coach, new offensive system. Could be a lot worse. You could be looking like the Raiders right now. You could be sitting 0-3. We're 2-1. Maybe putting Josh McDaniels on the hot seat with an 0-4 start today.
Oh, yeah, definitely. As a Broncos fan, I will say they're looking fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep losing games. It's all good with me. But no, I think a big part of the problem is that it is Josh McDaniels, some of the game management pieces that he's done and allowing teams to come back within the last 30, 45 seconds of a game and allowing them to tie it up and just poor decision-making from the head coaching position because they do have a very, very talented offense, Davante Adams coming out there and making some of the catches that he's already been making in the first 3 weeks. I was just like, that's scary to me. That's scary to me as a Broncos fan, seeing those kind of catches. But we also have to remember that Pat Surtain went out there and he limited him last year a lot. Davante Adams did not have the same amount of, catches that he would have had in any of the other games that he participated in. And so, I think we have to keep our expectations for the Raiders real. They will start to build a little more chemistry and they will start to figure it out. But just like us, they didn't really play any starters during preseason. So those first 3 weeks, I think, across the NFL for a lot of teams was kind of a wash because it was everybody trying to find their balance, find their chemistry. And that's why we were seeing such weird final scores and things like that. It's 10-11 first time since like 2008 or 2018, something like that.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, it was. We're gonna see some differences coming week 4, week 5. This past week with the Bengals and the Dolphins game, even that you started to see like, all right, these teams are starting to become a little more competitive in what they're doing and they're changing up things. So I think everybody's trying to find their footing these first 3 weeks, and this is the week that they should have their footing now. And so I think the Raiders are going to come out and they're going to try to show that, hey, look, we found our footing, especially it's against another AFC West team. They got smacked up on against the Chargers. They're not going to let the Broncos come in and ride all over them. It's going to be a tough defensive game, I think, on both sides of the ball. And so we'll see from there. We'll definitely see what's going to happen from there.
Coach Hackett said we have no time for rivalries and hate, man. Do you think this team has it in them to go in there and hate the Raiders? I mean, I know there's one player that came out and said he does.
I think it's an important piece to the game. I think rivalries are an important piece to the game. And I think that, as fans, we definitely heat up those rivalries. I remember watching in the early 90s where, when Bill Romanowski was on the Broncos side of the ball, just slugging it out with, Raiders players in the middle of the game and just, getting down into the mud and making things happen and you seeing true hate and despise for one another.
Yeah, man. I mean, I grew up, probably became a Broncos fan mid '80s. So coming in those mid '80s, we hated the Raiders right then. That was never a question. Going into Oakland was always ugly. We even brought it up, I think, last year when there was batteries and snowballs at one year. That were being hurled on the field here from Denver fans. So it was just it was just so mean and so nasty. And it feels like over the last few years we've kind of lost that. But at least from a Broncos perspective, going up against Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels brings all that rivalry and all that from a fan's perspective, and I can't imagine like a guy like Brandon McManus is super happy. No, I guess he didn't. McManus didn't play with Shanahan or with McDaniels? I don't know if he did, or I don't think he did.
I think he was drafted maybe after that, or
yeah. So I don't know if we have a guy on here who had to play underneath that regime. I can tell you, I don't know if you saw him any. Tyler Polumbus came out with some of the stories, and if you haven't seen anybody, go out there, find Tyler Polumbus on Twitter. He had a little stream of stories that he put out there. Oh my gosh, I can understand why Josh McDaniels is no longer a head coach for the Broncos. You will not believe the stories this guy has, man. So I got to go look it up. He said he's going to share some more, so I'm excited. So.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to look it up as well because that sounds like a very interesting read for sure.
It is. I mean, he put it. I'll give you one example. He said that there was about 9 different sayings or mottos that were plastered throughout the Broncos facility. And at any time, he would call on you, and you had to read them verbatim. I mean, if you messed up a word, then you would just get cussed out in front of the entire team.
Wow. Okay.
Fantastic, man. Great, man. That sounds like a great learning culture, man.
And these gentlemen are professionals. They've been doing it their entire careers. So yeah. I understand like culture changes and things like that, but at the same time, it's not like they're little kids. It's not like they're high schoolers where they're learning the game for the first time and you're trying to, make sure that they're getting their minds right and like, okay, this is football. We gotta heads up tackling, stuff like that, whatever. These are professionals. They've been doing it a long time, and they're getting paid big bucks to do it. So little things like that sounds so JV to me. Like you're not going to see that at a professional level.
Yeah, it sounds so college. It's like when you see those coaches that they're like, hey, this guy, he's a great college coach, but he'll never be able to jump to the pro level because of the way he coaches his kids, right? His kids,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you're up against a guy that's making $40 million a year. You can't coach him like he's a kid, It's just has to be a different mentality. Some guys can't make that change, man. I also heard an interesting statistic. Since Josh McDaniels and the Denver Broncos got busted in London for inappropriate taping. I don't remember if you remember that little scandal that went through, but yeah. Josh McDaniels, as a head coach, has not won a game since.
Wow. I did not know that. That is very interesting.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild. That also tells us something about some of our wins, maybe,
right?
during that time frame. We didn't win any championships or anything like that. So
no.
We're not going to bring that up.
Right?
So, no, I'm going to take a quick pause here real quick and get some shout outs from all of our users that are coming in. Good morning, Kenny from the K&K show. I am enjoying game day. Sloppy fields here on the East Coast. I think it's going to be pretty dry in Vegas. So
yeah, we're okay. Yeah.
We'll hopefully have a good game.
But for any of those guys who are thinking maybe, because, I know we're a Broncos show here, but, those fantasy or scores or, heck, if you maybe are thinking about putting a little bit of money on a game, hey, wager responsibly. But if you're thinking about that, man, these East Coast games are a little bit sloppy. That's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody said, "Why am I a Facebook user?" So if you are coming up as Facebook user, you just got to make sure that you allow that your name comes up on when you first log in, and it'll pop up, and we'll be able to see it, who you are. So don't worry about that. We're gonna try to get to all your comments and questions and everything like that. Uh,
Absolutely.
Matt Farrow, Kenny asked if he could share our page, and Matt's letting them know. And yes, we definitely appreciate the support, Kenny. Anything helps. All the viewers that are out there watching this morning with us. Again, good morning. It's Raiders week. We're about 25 minutes into this show now, and so if you've missed the beginning, make sure you come back and watch again. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and send us your comments, send us your questions, and let us know what you all are thinking about this week. This week is a big week for all of Broncos countries for sure, or Bronco country for sure. So please, let us know what you're thinking, and we'll try to get to your questions as they're popping in and coming up. And with that, Keith, like, what is your most memorable Raiders game that you remember watching throughout the years?
Oh, jeez, man. Now you're really pressing me.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I honestly, I nothing that really like just jumps out in my mind. I just remember. I can tell you one of the last things, one of the last games that pops into my mind was because of all the talk that we were talking about. 59-14 loss.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the last time that Josh McDaniels was running the Broncos. We posted up a 59-14 loss, man. I also got to say, in kind of those rivalry games, I would like to get that amped up Crabtree, Aqib Talib type of gumption or just passion. You know what I mean? Because man, that would bring back some rivalry right there, man. That was some crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think the Raiders have anybody with any type of swag like Crabtree or Talib right now. So
no, yeah.
maybe it'll be Devontae Adams and Surtain coming after it a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
K-Jack would probably be my best bet on our side. K-Jack has got such a mouth, man. I guess he's just a jar. So it'd be really fun to to see him get up there. Honestly, I'd love to see him like walk over to Josh McDaniels.
Oh, that would be great.
Just throw his hands up, be like, "What do you got? What do you got?" It's just shutting down somebody, busting up Devontae, walking over there, and just, "What you got, Josh?" and then run off the field, man. I might even take a penalty for that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that it's going to be a really good game. What are some of your predictions in this game? What do you think Russ is going to throw for today?
Oh, honestly, I really think that we're going to try to get the running game going. So I don't see an over the top, or at least the running backs involved. Probably like a 289. 1 to 2 touchdowns, you know what I mean? It really depends. I don't see him having like just a blowout game out here. I'd love to say that was opposite, but again, we've had, when we went up against Seattle, we went up against a team who had rookie corners, and we thought, hey, we should be able to throw the ball all over the place. We go up against the Houston Texans. And same thing, not a whole lot of experience in that secondary. We think we should be able to throw it all over the place. We just haven't seen Russ do that. And I think it's going to be more of a priority to the running backs. I think we're going to try to get that rolling. So how about you, man? What do you see out of Russ?
This week, I'm thinking, around 250 to 300, somewhere around that range for yardage. And then I'm looking at 1 touchdown. I don't think I see more than 1 touchdown. I see more so same thing, running game. It's going to be a strong run heavy game. Even though, the Raiders defensive backs are it's not a great secondary by any means. But I think that, Nate Hackett's really going to focus on the run because that's what he's been doing week in, week out. And I think that we have been doing okay in the run aspect. Last week wasn't a great example of that, but overall, over the course of the 3 weeks in general, like our running backs have not been doing too bad. I think that Javonte Williams struggled a lot last week compared to Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon was able to get the ball moving around a little bit more and
Mm-hmm.
bouncing off those tackles and kind of getting out to the outside a little bit more. So hopefully Javonte Williams, gets his feet back underneath him a little bit more this week and makes a big impact. I'm nervous to put the ball into Gordon's hands right now. It's not so much the amount of fumbles, it's when he fumbles is that I'm like more so like, oh, come on, man.
So what if we just give him the ball between the 20s and the 20,
Yeah.
and no like 4th and 1 situations or anything like that. I mean, we just play more situational.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because as soon as it's like, all right, man, we need 2 inches. Okay, here you go. Here, let me give you the ball.
Yep.
It's like, oh man, come on, Gordon. What are you doing, Melvin?
Yeah.
So
Hey, kind of rewinding back. Do you have a most memorable Raiders Broncos game in your mind?
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that because I'm like sitting there thinking, I'm like,
Oh, busted on his own question. No worries, man. No worries.
yeah, I just think I love the rivalry. So week in, week out, I think is a big, huge game for me.
Hmm.
Or I'm sorry for the Raiders weeks. Like it's just like every single time we play it, I get so hyped. I'm ready to go all week long and sit there and chant and say "Go Broncos" or whatever. And all
Yep.
the Raiders fans I'm seeing. I was actually out in San Diego yesterday. I went to SeaWorld and I seen Raiders fans everywhere, all over the park. And I'm sitting
Wow.
there telling them, "Go Broncos" the whole time. So,
Oh, dang.
oh yeah, I don't care. And that's without any drinks in me or anything. I'm sitting there just
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm going after it.
You'd have to at least get one drink in me if I was going to walk into Oakland and start doing that stuff. I think I'll be out in a stare though. So, man,
Yeah,
that town is going to hold on to it forever. I guarantee it, man. They're going to hold
I
on to
mean,
those Raiders, man. And what that was where that passion was. I guess that's where I kind of getting back. Oh, by the way, if I need to add any more fuel to that fire of that game that I was talking about, 59-14, if I remember right, I think it was
yeah.
Jamarcus Russell that was playing in that game. How does that make you feel?
Um, that's been a long time,
That's been
long
a long
time.
time, but man, if Jamarcus Russell is tearing you up, man, you should really hate the Raiders. I'm sorry,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the guy that was like, "Did you study the playbooks or did you study the tapes?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can't believe they put those defenses together. The tapes were blank, Jamarcus. The tapes were blank."
Blank.
That's great.
Oh.
That's great. So Kenny came at us. A question for us. Give me a sleeper for the MVP of this game. He's going with Alberto. All right, Keith. I'll start with you.
Uh, Honestly, like I said, I think one aspect of this game is kind of going to go off. So I want to put Melvin Gordon as my sleeper for this game. I think he goes off today, man. I think he gets
Okay.
involved in the pass and the run. I think he's the guy who puts up a couple touchdowns.
Okay. For me, I think it is going to be Jerry Judy. I think
Mhm.
Jerry Judy is coming out with a little bit more swagger, and I think he has a little bit more to this game, especially after him and Shannon Sharp were kind of going at it. He's gonna kind of want to go out there and be like, look what I can do. So I'm saying Jerry Judy for this week.
Little prove it game for Jerry Judy. I like it, man.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. We need it, man.
So
Like, everyone's been talking about him coming out this season. I was so glad to see his touchdown in the first game. Just get that off the slate. But at the same time, man, it's time, man. He needs to be a little bit more productive for us. So
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that Melvin has been, he's starting to find his confidence and things like that. Yeah, he's made a few mistakes, but that's just Melvin. So hopefully he can get past those few little mistakes and
yeah,
big mistakes as well. But and we just kind of see what's going to happen as he develops through the game.
might be the biggest Raider hater on this team, actually.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was.
I mean, going back all the way back to those San Diego days. I mean, he's had no reason to like the Raiders for years. So
Nope. No, not at all. Not at all. So, I like Melvin's confidence too. I like the, oomph that he comes out with week in and
Mhm.
week out as well. So, Melvin is a fun player to watch, even though he's kind of a knucklehead. Like I said, sometimes in those pressure situations, he's a fun player to watch. He really
Yeah.
is, because he comes up and he has that fire inside of him, and he goes out there and displays it, and definitely makes it happen week in and week out.
I'd like to know from Kenny what he thinks Albert O is going to put up this, since that's going to be a surprise or MVP player, or sleeper or MVP of this game, man. Kenny,
Yeah.
chime in. What do you think? What do you think Albert's going to do that's going to get him those accolades? I guess you say.
Oh, wrong button.
Jeez, fine, man. Cut me out. I don't care, man. Jeez.
Press the wrong button there.
No, no worries.
Yeah, I'm still figuring this out. So thank you. Bear with me all while I'm going through these things.
Right?
Uh, Kenny was telling you that he agrees with you, and you can see the tight ends in the red zone. Finally, hopefully that's what's going to be happening this week.
Yeah, I think it's just time that we find ways to get into the end zone. That's the biggest problem, that we've been settling for too many field goals, or kicking a field goal and having a penalty and taking it back off and punting, or you name it. I mean, anytime that you're winning a game that's 10-11, you know what I mean. It's not like you're ramming it down their throats. I'm going to be so excited, I think, to see our first 30-point plus game.
Okay.
That will be so fun to see, man. It's got to be coming. It's got to be coming soon. I thought we would already have it by now. Maybe it's against the Raiders. Again, I think it really depends on how we come out. The reason I think this running game is going to be key in this game is because I think we're going to try to slow it down. I don't think we want to get into the car to Devontae Adams. Hucking it all over the place, big plays, big yards. I think we want to try to keep them in the same mentality of trying to keep the run game going, trying to keep, for them, they have nothing going as far as the run game. Nothing. I mean, there's no reason to respect it. And that's all the more reason they should come out here and try to do so. So if we can keep it in more of a run game, lower scoring game, I think it'll play to our advantage, because I don't want to see, like you said, some of those catches that Devontae Adams has come down with already. I don't want to see that all over our secondary. Not that I expect our secondary would be necessarily giving that up, but I just don't want to see that possibility.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's going to be a very defensive game for us. I think on our side of the ball, trying to make sure we limit Devontae Adams. But like you said, they don't have a run game going, so I think it's more so that we just got to protect the pass and put pressure on Carr. Hopefully Bradley Chubb and Gregory are getting in there and making some plays, so that they continue to put that pressure on him. Because as soon as Carr has had any pressure on him this season, he's been making big mistakes, big mistakes. So I think that it's time for us to just go in there, do kind of what we did last week with Jimmy G. Jimmy G made a ton of mistakes last week, but that was only because of the pressure that we were putting on him.
That's a good point, man. I said it, last week. I didn't want us to get behind early, because that would be such a detriment for us. We kept the game close. At the same time, man, if we can jump out to, a 14, 17-point lead, this defense, that's where we're really going to see them shine. These guys have been overperforming, in my opinion, especially the amount of time that we put them on the field and the amount of run plays that we've been having them defend, which is not necessarily their strength, in my opinion. We're a fantastic rush the passer, fantastic secondary, opportunities galore. If we can constantly have that going. I hope we get out to that 17-point lead, because, like you said, then we can just sit back there and rattle Carr all day long. I got to jump in and just say for Kenny real quick, because he says, by the way, I need a running back in fantasy, so I traded Juju for Gordon. Hope you're right, Keith Brugman. Well, I had Swift from the Lions as one of my running backs starters. He's out this week. Gordon goes in the lineup for me as well, buddy. So me and you both. I hope that I hope we're right. So need to keep that train a rolling. Got a win last week. So
All right. So final prediction. What are you thinking, Keith? Final score.
man, I think we just keep inching our way up. Hopefully we can get a few more points on the board. Certainly, this defense gives us opportunities to do so. So, but again, I'm still think I'm going to be waiting for that 30-point performance. So, I'm going to come out. How about a 24-17 win for the Broncos? I feel pretty good about that.
All right. I'm thinking 27. I'm thinking probably like 17 points as well for the Raiders. So 27-17 is what I'm looking at right now.
Okay. Just
the line
running us just shy of that 30 points, man. Almost got there.
Yeah, the line I think was 42.5 points for the over/under. So yeah, I'm thinking like 27-17, somewhere around there.
So playing the over, getting the over there, man. It's certainly covering the spread, man. That would be fantastic. So man, Kenny, I said that a 33-point game or a 30+ point game would be exciting, man, but a 33-31 with a, what is he saying? A field goal, a 54-yard field goal to win the game. I think my heart would be like pounding in my chest, man, if that happens to be the case. Especially McManus on a 54-yarder, man. I got to ask you this, Joe, man. How much confidence do you have in McManus?
I have a lot of confidence.
For like a. The funny thing is, let me put it this way: a 55-yard field goal in the middle of the first quarter versus a 55-yard field goal to win it at the end of the game.
I have enough confidence in him for going for a 55-yarder to win the game.
To win the game.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Do you feel different about him hitting a 55-yarder in the middle of the first quarter versus a 55-yarder at the end of the game?
No, I don't think I do. I don't think I think I'm confident. I'm like overly confident on McManus. McMoney, I love him. I have a soft spot in my heart for him, especially with the mustache that he has going on right now. I think it's fantastic. Oh, look at Keith with the mustache. This is my son Richie. He just woke up, so he wants some time with me right now. So he's out here this morning.
Yeah, hey, Richie is just an up and coming host for Time to Ride on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Man, he's just getting ready, getting his chops in.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's the only other Broncos fan in my house. So Richie, can you say "Go Broncos"? Say "Go Broncos." Broncos. Yeah, there you go, buddy.
Go Broncos. All right.
All right, go upstairs with your sister, okay?
Bye, Richie.
Sorry about that, y'all.
No worries, man.
I definitely think that McManus, I don't know. Like I said, I'm very big on McManus as far as, okay, Richie's coming back. He's not
all right, no worries, man. Bring Richie in.
He's not done with hosting this morning.
All right.
You want your hood on, huh? Okay. He wants his hood on. He's trying to look like Joker out there. We were on Friday we went by UCSD. We actually went and tried to see the Nuggets because that's where their training camp is going. So we whipped past UCSD a bunch of times, like looking around. So he was all excited.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know. McManus has gotten me like just on edge as of lately, man. It just seems like one time he goes out there and he could nail a 68-yard field goal, for no reason, and then sometimes when he pulls up there, man, it just seems like, oh man, he ends up missing. You know what I mean? And not always at the most opportune times, I guess is the best way to put it. It just makes me nervous, man. Kenny's prediction makes me nervous. I don't want it to be coming down to McManus at the very end of the game.
I don't want that either. I want us to have a nice, comfortable lead. If they score a few points, if the Raiders score 0, if they put up a goose egg, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Sure.
But I just want us to have a comfortable lead ahead of them. I'm realistic. If we're leading by 14 points, if we're leading by 14, 17 points in the game, I think that I would be very, very happy with that. Very comfortable. Anything over 10. I
Yeah.
just don't want. I don't want it to come down to where we're having some kind of crazy Kyler Murray type thing where Derek Carr's running on the field all kinds of crazy for an hour or whatever, and keeping them in the game. It's not a good look for us. I don't think.
I agree, man. At some point, we need to just show some dominance, and it would be so nice to do it against an 0-3 team, B, the Raiders, C, Josh McDaniels. It just lines up to where if this a big win here, I think propels this team so much. Man, all of a sudden a big win gets the wind in your sails. The fans are behind you. You get so much more, leeway, I guess you could say, whether it be a coach or a player. It could just be huge, man. I'm hoping for a big win. We should get it, man. We're deserving of it, man. Like I said, it all lines up, but at the same time, when things line up like that, it also lines up for a trap game, and it's something that I'm really hoping we don't fall into.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing that I'm worried about too. Anytime we play an AFC West divisional opponent, I think it's definitely going to be more of a trap game type situation. Especially, we've seen it in the past where the Raiders have been coming in, 0-10 or whatever, and then we're at that point where it's hey, this should be easy win, and then it's we're not looking at easy wins by any means.
Nope.
So, speaking about the rest of the AFC West, Kansas City and Tampa Bay have a pretty big game coming up as well. TB12 versus Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I am not the biggest Brady fan, but he's the GOAT right now, and there's nothing that you can do to say otherwise. So I'm really looking for a big game from Tom Brady, especially after he's been throwing tantrums the last few weeks. I'm looking for a big productive game, and I'm hoping that he comes out and works the Kansas City Chiefs defense over. So what are you thinking in that? Do you think TB12 has enough to win that game against Mahomes?
I do, just because mainly that Tampa Bay defense has looked outstanding, man. You start talking about top defenses. We looked at one last week in the 49ers. We field one every single week as a Denver Bronco fan, and our team, because I think they're a top defense. And that Tampa Bay defense is legit, man. So this is what I really love about this weekend. If we can play out the way we're supposed to, go in and beat an 0-3 team, and that game, as far as Tampa Bay being played in Tampa Bay, sloppy, soaking wet East Coast, as Kenny pointed out earlier, going to limit what maybe is possible, and I look for a Tampa Bay win here. If that's the case, guess where we're sitting, buddy?
Top of the AFC West, all alone.
All alone, buddy.
Oh, that's going to be so nice. It's been something we haven't heard in a while. So that would be very nice. Very nice little comfortable spot for, at least 1 week.
Yes, absolutely, man. I mean, well, the thing is, once you get there, man, it's all about not letting it go then. Just don't let it go. Just don't let it go. Fight like hell. So, it's like you said, man, if we were able to win big, we're sitting atop the AFC West. Like I said, the motion that could propel this team and this fan base, man, look out, man. It would be huge.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that we've had our fan base has kind of been all over the place, and we kind of started off the show like that this morning, where I was even freaking out. Keith brought me down a little bit. I've taken that breath. It's week 3 into a brand new coaching regime. The man has not had a chance to go through and probably even open up a third of his playbook yet. So we're just going to go ahead and take that sigh of relief, collective sigh of relief from across Broncos country. Take a breath, and we're going to see them come out today and do good things against the Raiders. We're going to put that out into the universe. Hey, good things from the Broncos country this week.
Hey, man, if you look at this coaching staff, this quarterback, man, everything. I mean, they exude like positivity to the point where they sometimes they get labeled a little bit cheesy at times. Let's ride anyway, but but hey, it's good. You've got that confidence. You also got the humility. I mean, I don't know if Vic Fangio would have automatically after 2 weeks said, "I need a special assistant. Let's go out and get somebody and put him up in the booth because I'm not capable of doing this all myself." No way. No way. So making all the proper steps to make this a successful team, doing whatever it takes, staying positive. Man, I just like the way we're going. It may not always be pretty, but give this whole staff a chance. Let's face it. Our defense is looking fantastic. Our special teams, compared to years past, where we couldn't cover couldn't cover a punt or a kickoff, we couldn't even secure the ball sometimes on a kickoff or a return. That's all changed around. We're 2-1. This offense is going to get rolling. I'm excited, man.
And you know what? And with that, Keith, I'm gonna let you leave those with those final thoughts right there. And I am excited to see what the Broncos are going to do today, and it's going to be a fun day to watch. It's going to be a fun day to watch. So again, week 4, Raiders week. It's time to sit there and take it all in, enjoy it for the last couple moments. We're going to let our fans get over to watching some of the other morning games right now.
Yep.
But thank you all for joining us again. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Keith.
Just one last thing. We won't have a halftime show. There will be a Time to Ride post-game show. I will be on there. Albert will be on there. So feel free to jump on in, people. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for joining us this week. Again, this will be, this is my first week. Super excited. Thank you for bearing with me with all the craziness and everything, Keith. I was not expecting Richie to be up this early. I thought he was going to sleep in a little bit more. So, it is what it is. But
there you go.
Again, thank you all, Broncos country. Looking forward to the game. We'll talk to you all later. Let's ride. Figure this out. Sorry, guys.
That's all right, man. We'll get out of here. Let's go, Broncos. Go.